Good morning, students. We are moving forward to our second chapter. Our name of the second chapter is Cascading Style Sheet and JavaScript. In our first chapter, we have already created HTML form in Notepad, simple HTML form in Notepad. You know very well how to create a HTML form in Notepad. If you want to create a simple HTML form, then you have to simply follow this HTML syntax. HTML, inside HTML you have, if you want to apply title, then you have to write head tag. Inside head tag you have to write title tag. Title is a container tag, that's why you have to close it. Head is also container tag, that's why you have to close your head tag. Here your heading portion is over. Now if you want to write anything, then you have to use body tag. Body is a container tag, that's why you have to close it. If you want to print 1 2 3, then you have to write 1 2 3 inside your body tag. If you want to write good morning, if you want to print good morning, then you have to write good morning inside your body tag, because computer does not know what do you mean by good morning. It knows only body tag, because it knows HTML tag. HTML is a symbolic language, that's why you have to use this tag. Computer knows the tag language, it doesn't know what do you mean by good morning. So you have to simply follow this HTML syntax. You can write your HTML code inside in Notepad or Notepad++ editor. If you want to run your program, then you have to use web browser, Google Chrome browser or Internet Explorer, whatever browser you want to use, you can use for your Notepad program. So in our first topic, you know about HTML form, and our second topic was registration form in Notepad. We already created our registration form. You know very well how to create a registration form, that is our registration form. And you already created your registration form in your Notepad. And our third topic was registration form in Composer. Using Composer, you have to create your registration form. We already created our registration form in Composer, but can you see registration form in Notepad and registration form in Composer? We have created 2 times registration form. Why? First time in Notepad and second time in Composer. Why? Because there is a difference between Notepad and Composer. First of all, in Notepad you have to write many texts for your field. For example, I want text box, that so I have to compulsory write input tag, because input is a tag. Inside input tag you have to use text box. If you want radio button, then you have to compulsory write input tag. If you want track box, then you have to again write input tag. If you want address, then you have to write text area. If you want city, then you have to use drop down list. If you want submit and reset button, then you have to use input tag again. So you have to write many statements for your form in HTML. It is very lengthy process, and you have to write many lines for many text. I have to write 3 statements for 3 text box, because I want 3 text box. I have to write 2 radio button for 2 statement, because I want 2 radio button. I have to write 3 text for checkbox, because I want 3 checkbox. I want 2 input tag, because I want 2 buttons. So you have to write many statements, many text for many field, and it is a very lengthy process, and you have to write many statements. In Composer, there is no need to write anything. You have simply just drag and drop. In our registration form, I want to add password. In our registration form, I want to add password, email ID, phone number. So you have to add many other statement for your field. So process is very lengthy. In Composer, you can create in short time, and there is no need to write anything in your Composer. So in our first topic, registration, you can create your registration form in Notepad and you can create your registration form in Composer, but there is a difference between Notepad and Composer. So Composer is better than Notepad because in Composer you can there is no need to write anything, or in Notepad you have to write many statements and process will be very lengthy and it consumes many more time, so it is better to use Composer. In our first chapter we already learn about simple HTML form, registration form in Notepad and registration form in Composer also. If you want to download your Composer, then you have to use www.composer.net. Sorry, composer.net. So you can download from by using this link www.composer.net. Composer is a free software, so there is no need to pay for it. It is a free software. So our first chapter is over. In our first chapter we have already created registration form in Notepad and Composer also. In our second chapter, our name of the second chapter is Cascading Style Sheet and JavaScript. Cascading Style Sheet and JavaScript both are different topic and most important topic. Cascading Style Sheet, that is CSS. Cascading C, style S, and sheet S. CSS. C stands for cascading, S stands for style, and S stands for sheet. That is CSS. Short name CSS. The full name of CSS is Cascading Style Sheet. CSS, and second topic is JavaScript. CSS. Now what do you mean by CSS and what do you mean by JavaScript? CSS means style. If you want to apply any style in your registration form, in our first chapter we already created our registration form. We already design our registration form, but I want to apply some styles in my registration form. I want to apply some validation in my registration form. Then I have to use CSS and JavaScript. What do you mean by CSS? If you want to apply any style in your registration form, then you have to use CSS. If you want to apply any validation in your registration form, then you have to use JavaScript. Now what do you mean by style and what do you mean by validation? Style means what? Style means I want to apply my first name, middle name, last name, label. I want to apply some color. I want to apply some effect. I want to increase size, font size. I want to apply background color. Then I have to use CSS. Now I am writing in my first name 1 2 3, but you know very well that 1 2 3 is not possible for your first name. 1 2 3 is wrong, so I have to use I have to use JavaScript for it. And JavaScript means what? Validation. So in your second chapter you have to use CSS and JavaScript, that is validation. Now first of all we have to focus in our CSS. In our CSS we have to learn CSS means why we are using CSS, how can we use it. Second, CSS syntax. CSS syntax means what? How can you write CSS code? Next, CSS advantage and disadvantage. There are some advantages of CSS and there are some disadvantages of CSS. First of all, CSS. Why we are using CSS? So CSS means what? Cascading style sheet. In our second chapter, how to use CSS in Composer, we have to learn how to use CSS in Composer. It means we are working in Composer. We are working in Composer and we already created registration form in Composer. In our second chapter we are also learn we have to work in Composer and we have to use CSS in Composer. In our first chapter we have already created HTML tag. HTML tag, if you want to write HTML, then you have to use this tag, and tag means opening and closing angle bracket. We can say that HTML is used to describe information content of the document, not this tag. In our first chapter we know how to write HTML code for first name text box, for radio button. We know about checkbox, how to write checkbox code, how to write text area code, how to write drop down list code, how to write submit and reset code. Because in our first chapter, that is HTML, and we already know about it. But in our second chapter, we have to learn about CSS. CSS describe the style of the element in the document, not its contents. Means in our second chapter we have to learn about CSS, and CSS means what? CSS means style. You have to add some style. If you want to display your registration form in attractive manner, then you have to use CSS. If you want to display your registration form simple form, then there is no need to use CSS. But I want to add some CSS because I want some special effect to my registration form. It means I want to change look and feel of your form. How to display your registration form on the screen, on computer screen, then you have to use your CSS. Now CSS or cascading style sheet allows you to specify style. What? It allows you to specify styles for the visual element of the website. Visual, it means what? Visible elements. You can visual this first name, middle name, last name. If you want to change your visual element style, then you have to use CSS. CSS means what? CSS allows you to specify style for the visual element of the website. Whatever elements you can see on your web page, on your website, if you want to change your web page style, if you want to change your field style, if you want to change your text box style, then you have to use CSS. In short, CSS means what? It can use for change your look, change your web page look on the computer screen. Next, style means what? CSS, cascading style sheet. Inside cascading style sheet, style means what? The details of how to display the document is known as style. Style means what? The details of how to display the document. How to display your document on your computer screen is known as style. I want to change my document, my web page document, then I have to use CSS. I want my background color red. If you want your background color, if you want your background image, then you can add your background image. If you want your background color red, then you can apply red color. I want my background color green, then I can apply green color. If you want your text box size, if you want your text box size large, then you can apply it. I want my text box size small, then I can change my text box size. So all of you can do through your CSS. Next, style specify the appearance of a particular page element on the screen. Style means what? Style specify the appearance. It means you can see your registration form, you can see your registration form appearance on the screen. If you want to change your appearance of a registration form on the screen, then you have to use style. Using CSS, we can control the font type. If you want to change your font type, for example, I am using Times New Roman for font, but I want to change Times New Roman. I want monotype cursiva. That is cursive writing, monotype cursiva font. Then so I can change it through CSS. I want to increase my font size, decrease my font size, then I can change it. Elements colors means what? I want first name in red color, I want middle name green color, I want last name blue color. So I can change my element color through CSS. Next, spaces means what? If you want your form in left side, then you have to use left margin. If you want your form center, then you have to use center margin. If you want your center alignment, if you want your form right side, then you have to use right alignment. If you want if you want some space between first name and text box, then you have to use CSS. If you want some space between radio button and male, space between this radio button and female, if you want space between this checkbox and reading, whatever style you want to apply, you can apply through CSS. Margins, element position in our website. If you want to change your elements position, elements means what? This first name, middle name, last name, all of these are known as element. If you want to change your element color, element size, element position, so you can apply CSS and you can change it. But why we are using CSS? If you want to change your registration form title, if you want bold effect, if you want italic effect, if you want underline effect, you can apply through HTML tag. If you want BIU, you can simply drag and you can simply click in your composer B effect, I effect and U effect. You can apply in your registration form. Then why we are using CSS? What is the purpose behind it? Because CSS is useful because, for example, you have to write 10 paragraph in your body text. If you have to write 10 paragraph, and I want to apply my all these 10 paragraph bold, I want to apply bold effect to this all these 10 paragraph. I want to apply italic effect, I want to apply underline effect to all these paragraph. Then how can I apply it? In your notepad, you have to compulsory write 10 time B tag, 10 time I tag and 10 time U tag, because you want to apply 10 paragraph, you want to apply bold effect to your 10 paragraph. But in CSS you have to write only one type time, and you can apply 10 time CSS effect to your 10 paragraph. What is the difference between CSS and simple BIU? If I want to apply bold effect to my 10 statement, I am writing 10 statement. For example, good morning. Second statement is good afternoon. Third statement is good evening, good afternoon, good evening. Fourth statement is good night. Fifth statement is hi. Sixth statement is hello. Seventh statement is how. Eighth statement is are. Ninth statement is you. How are you? I want to apply my bold effect to my good morning statement. I want to apply italic effect. I want to apply underline effect. I am writing my first paragraph. I have already written my first paragraph. Now I am writing my second paragraph. I am writing my third paragraph. I am writing my fourth paragraph. I want to write 10 paragraph. How many paragraph? 10 paragraph. And I want to apply bold effect, italic effect and underline effect to all my 10 paragraph. So how many times I have to write BIU? 10 times, because I want to write 10 paragraph. You have to compulsory write 10 times B effect, I effect, U effect. Now you have to compulsory close your B effect, I effect and U effect. Process will be very lengthy because you have to write 10 times. It consumes many time. But if you want to use CSS, then you have to simply write only one time, and you can apply this CSS effect to all your 10 paragraph. So it saves your time, your effort. So CSS is better.